Hey, you mentioned imposter syndrome, and,
Yeah.
and I have thoughts about it, but I've struggled with the idea on what imposter syndrome really is. And I wonder if you could share your thoughts about how it plays out.
So for
Great
me,
question, Mark.
I don't experience it as much as I used to, Mark, but back in the day, until I became really intentional about my leadership style and legacy and brand, the imposter syndrome kind of went away because I was very focused. But prior to that, it was, Jesus, am I really a good leader? I mean, am I qualified to actually even do this? Like, what makes me worthy, and why do people even want to follow me? It was kind of those feelings of insecurity for me. That's what imposter syndrome meant for me, at least anyhow.
Yeah.
So what do
Kim, I just want to say thank you for that vulnerability. It's really, really important because in my working with so many leaders, I don't think there's been one leader that hasn't experienced imposter syndrome. We are all kind of, in many ways, broken. So how do we acknowledge that, like, for myself, I often feel like an imposter. Like, what am I doing writing about this? Who am I to be talking about this? And it's a daily struggle to be present with my intention to get over that.
Yeah.
I often think like I am not. And then when you look at, if I can't do something, then around leadership, around coaching, around helping with corporate culture, then who can?
Yeah.
And how to acknowledge that. And not in the sense of being boastful, but in the sense of like humility and in the sense of just kind of honoring who and what I am and what I've done. When society has told me in many ways, I can't.
Can I just add to that?
Of course.
So, the way I used to deal with the imposter syndrome when I had it, at least my definition of imposter syndrome. So I used to be very judgmental. And some people still think I am, but I'm not. At least in my view, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm very outspoken.
Yes.
All you have to do is go to my LinkedIn account. You'll see I'm very outspoken.
Yeah.
I call balls and strikes.
Yeah.
But what really helped me get over that was the intention. And today, instead of being judgmental, I ask myself, okay, why is the person saying that? I might not agree with, some things that are being said, but what's the story that this person is experiencing?
Mm-hmm.
And that saved me recently. This person that I was dealing with was acting so irrational, and I was about to fire him as a client because it's very abusive. And then I just asked myself, what's the story? What's going on here? And then as soon as I asked that question to myself, then that delivered a response that was, okay, Ms. X, maybe let's dial this back a bit. Can you tell me why you're saying this?
Yes.
Open-ended questions like that. Right?
Yes.
So I know this is digressing a bit from imposter syndrome, but I think it's an example of when you're not feeling adequate, you can go to judgment very quickly.
Yes.
Instead of applying intentional leadership, which is an example of asking the story.
And that power of the pause that you implemented, just in terms of the story, is super, super important. And often we're making up stories, and often we're taking on, social norms that may or may not be true. So for me, I've been really unearthing, what is true and what's a socially conditioned response, and really examining that at a very deep level so that I can be of more service to our clients and the companies that we serve. And also, like, the whole imposter syndrome, just from my perspective, like, I dance in so many different realms. Like, for example, we do corporate culture consulting, we do executive coaching. I'm writing a book on creativity. I'm writing a poetry book that will be published. I'm also a tennis player and a windsurfer, and I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and I'm a business partner. And we don't have many examples of that in our society. And I think it's time for people like us to kind of come out and say, you know what, it doesn't have to be done in the typical linear form. That we are actually being invited to work from a different place and to behave from a different place.